Despite the San Francisco 49ers just not being a great team last year, we are still finding that their coaching staff and executive team are getting poached by others. At least there is a chance. We'll talk about who those guys might be. The latest Deebo Samuel developments, Brock Purdy. Jed York wants to get him paid, but when will he get paid? And of course, anything else 49ers related you guys want to talk about. Now, I asked you guys if we could get to 150 likes on this video yesterday, and you got to 300. So you guys doubled it. I'm just going to see. Can we get to 150 again? We'll see. But you guys already know what to do. Drop an SDS in the chat. Oh, that's good to hear. And let's talk all things San Francisco 49ers right now. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. What is going down, SDS? Good to have you guys in the building. Let's talk some San Francisco 49ers football, as there are some interesting developments happening around this team. I want to talk to you about the biggest development so far, and that development is DeAndre Campbell. His suspension with the San Francisco 49ers has officially been uplifted. Oh my goodness. I thought it was funny when I saw that report come through from Aaron Wilson saying that the 49ers have lifted the suspension of DeAndre Campbell. I think we all understand. I think we all know. DeAndre, he's got absolutely no future with the San Francisco 49ers. One of the crazier developments of what a wild year last year was. I mean, there's so many things that just were so uncharacteristic of the 49ers. And I mean, let's be real. The 49ers are no stranger to weird things happening. We are the team that put Jimmy Garoppolo on the side field for an entire training camp after we thought he was going to be gone, just to bring him back. We've had so many weird situations go on that you kind of get surprised when something new surprises you. But hey, DeAndre Campbell, he will likely now be a free agent at the start of next season. But man, what a wild ride that was. Brandon Staley. I know 49er fans absolutely love Brandon Staley. They might not have any idea what Brandon Staley does, but that doesn't change the fact that they are excited to hear that Brandon Staley will likely be the defensive coordinator for the Saints, it sounds like, with the Saints hiring of the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator. He is also going to bring along Brandon Staley with him to be his DC. So Kellen Moore was actually hired by Brandon Staley at one point with the Chargers. And so they obviously have a working relationship together. And Staley, who was Kellen Moore's boss, well, now Kellen Moore will be Staley's boss. And I mean, good for Brandon Staley. I know 49er fans are not too disappointed that he is going to be out the door. But I do think that we'll see. We'll see what happens. It was interesting to see that Staley hadn't really gotten any interviews or anything prior to that, and all that good stuff. So good for Staley, I guess. But the 49ers, they've already done a really good job of building out their staff. I think they one of the more underrated, well, it's probably not underrated, but one of the best aspects of the offseason are the 49ers and how they have built the staff, how they have brought back Robert Saleh, hired Gus Bradley, former defensive coordinator of the Colts, brought him onto the staff. And then you get Brant Boyer from the New York Jets. They've done a pretty solid job, if you ask me. But there's also something else with 49ers Josh Williams, who's the director of scouting and football operations. He had his interview today with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he is interviewing for their vacant general manager job. He has been with the San Francisco 49ers organization for 14 years. I believe he started out as a scouting assistant, and he worked all the way up the ranks. He's a guy that I don't want to see let go. I think when you have someone who has that level of continuity and can stay in one spot for that long and rise all the way up, that's a great indication that that's good people. That's someone that the organization values and you know want to keep around if they can. But of course, if Josh Williams can get a general manager job, it's hard to hold him back from that. Um, so we'll see how it goes. But he did interview today with the Jags. I'm hopeful that he returns, but we will definitely see what's going to go on with that. And then, of course, one of the biggest stories, I guess one of the biggest stories in the NFL right now is Deebo Samuel. And where will Deebo be playing his football next season? Well, Keyshawn Vaughn doesn't want Deebo Samuel on the Green Bay Packers. He tweeted, quote tweeted, something from a Packers content creator, and he says, "Love him, we don't want him." And then you had Diamador Lenore quote tweet him and say, "You're scared of the hitting drills, aren't you?" So Diamador Lenore continues to be first team all tweeter. Phenomenal stuff. I just love Diamador's online presence. Um, he doesn't hold back, and he's not afraid to chirp anyone at any time. So honestly, it's pretty fun to see. I love to see it. I love to see it. I think one of the positive developments in regards to the NFL draft is regarding the defensive line depth. This is something that we have talked about quite a bit on this channel, and we have highlighted the emphasis on D line. But Daniel Jeremiah put out today. He said, last year at this time, I had potential starting grades on 12 defensive tackles. He says, this year I have 24 of them. Ridiculous amount of defensive line depth at the position in this draft class. And as you guys know, and you have probably seen and been following along, I was very adamant about Walter Nolan being a stud, being someone that I think the 49ers would consider at 11. But this was pre-Senior Bowl, so really before any of the hype picked up. And not only him, though, but a guy that I was tweeting about today was North Carolina defensive lineman who I think really would be a great fit. TJ Sanders. Um, I really love his game. He stood out to me at the Senior Bowl. when you look at his frame, he's huge, but he also looks like an athletic three tech. Um, and he's a guy that he checks all the boxes. He has pass rush moves. He has ability to shed blocks in the run game. Um, he just can do everything. He's a 3 down defensive lineman who can play. He can even play standing up if he needs to. He could probably play base down edge if he needs to. He's just an athlete, and he's a whole bag of pass rushing moves and everything in between. TJ Sanders to me is a guy that I'm really liking as a potential pick in the second round. We'll see if he's available, if he jumps up into the first. But yeah, 21 years old. He's really really solid, and he really showcased his power at the Senior Bowl. So he's definitely a player that I got my eyes on. But there's just so many quality defensive linemen in this class. It's going to be fascinating to see when and where the 49ers will address that position. I know that a lot of 49er fans still want offensive line in the first round. I just, again, as I continue to watch kind of the consensus um, of the draft and where these experts are starting to rank their players and make their big boards and all of those things. I just don't see the value really for an offensive lineman at pick 11 because as you guys know, I am bullish on Will Campbell being the best offensive lineman in this class. It appears that now that all the rankings and all that stuff is coming out, all the draft experts, offensive line experts, really does seem to be a consensus um, that I was going to show you Dane Bulger's big board, but apparently I am not subscribed to The Athletic. So it doesn't look like I'll be able to show you that. I hate paywalls, man. Paywalls. If I'm about to go on a quick little tangent, paywalls on websites got to be one of the dumbest inventions in 2025. We'll see if it lets me stick around here. Nope. Oh man. Paywalls are ridiculous. Like seriously. Ridiculous. You have ads on your website and you have a paywall. All right, I won't share and promote your stuff then. So stupid. But anyways, I can we can look at another one. Let's see. Let's go position ranks. We're going to go all. All right, let's take a look. So I think some of the main guys. So what's going to be really fascinating? Oh, what do we have now? It's always something, man. What the hell is this? Oh my goodness. It's always something. It's either my mic. I can't even look up a big board now. Quality streams we've been having the last 2 days here. quality. But when we kind of look at these things before it kicks me out again, um, you got Kelvin Banks. Yeah, oh my God, what a ridiculous. I can't. I can't. I can't win. Thank you. Thank you. I've won. I've won. That's crazy, man. Oh, 101. Don't build your websites like that. Website building advice. But anyways, I think when it comes to offensive line at pick 11, I just don't think there's going to be a guy worth that pick. Kelvin Banks is most likely going to be a guard in the NFL. And um, I've talked about him quite a bit. I just I I just don't see Kelvin Banks. Um, I think he would be a better guard. He just doesn't strike me as a tackle. He doesn't have a good enough base, in my opinion, for me to be a tackle in the NFL. Yeah, I think you have to have great feet, good base, and I don't see great feet from him. Um, so I don't think you want to select a guard at pick 11. Um, Again, look what the 49ers proved the theory that I have been preaching for years is that you can find a starting guard or center in the middle rounds like clockwork, um, because they're never going to be the most physically gifted. They're typically not going to be those guys, but they're going to be adequate and they're going to be solid. Uh, and so you can just wait until the second or third round, grab a guard there, and don't use you definitely don't use a first round pick on an offensive lineman unless you believe he's going to be an elite player. Using the same pole mark, yeah, I picked 150. I just didn't feel like this was going to be a big stream. I could already kind of feel it heading into this one. Um, so I just didn't think we were wanted to get something a little bit more obtainable. Um, but I do think that whatever the 49ers do, they will address the offensive line. I just don't think it will be at pick 11. I know that other Daniel Jeremiah had I forget his name already, the Mizzou kid, uh Armand, mocked to the 49ers at pick 11. Just seems too rich to take that guy there. Um so we'll see how it goes down. But this is a guy that I want to get into. Josh Simmons. I just saw Matt Barrows mocked Josh Simmons. I haven't watched his tape yet, and I need to. But the thing that concerns me with him is that he is uh he's injured, you know? And not saying that major injury is the end all be all for any offensive lineman. I just think that I think the 49ers are extremely cognizant of their injury luck, and they have openly talked about it. I think the biggest kind of alert to that was when John Lynch talks about um, the whole kind of process into uh, signing Yetur Gross-Matos. He said that one of the key indicators for them in wanting to add him was his health. He was one of the healthiest prospects that they had looked at um, in free agency up until his time, with the Carolina Panthers before they signed him to their team. He had been extremely healthy. And that was one of the things that was attractive to them in signing Yetur was that fact. So it's very interesting to me, that that was a big thing to them. At least that's what John Lynch made it seem, and was one of the big indicators of why they felt strongly in going and targeting Yetur Gross-Matos. And then, of course, Yetur comes in and he gets hurt. He's hurt in training camp. He's hurt, um, you know, in the season, and they're just like, we don't get it, because that was one of the reasons that attracted us to him. So the thing with Josh Simmons is, I would imagine that they will do the same thing with draft prospects, especially after the Javon Kinlaw situation. And I don't know. I just have a hard time, considering. And again, not every prospect that has an injury is going to be Javon Kinlaw, right? There are outliers, but I also do believe that um, I think it might really be something that they pay attention to. So the fact that Josh Simmons is coming off a season-ending injury, I don't know. I just don't know how confident they will be in going to get him. And again, I got to go look at him, um, and all that stuff. I need to look into his tape, but we'll see. We'll see. Luther Burden at 11. He's my CD Lamb. I've seen the posts, and I know you've been talking about him throughout this whole process. I think even before the draft, you had been posting about Luther Burden, and I think he was a player that I do agree is talented, but I just didn't necessarily see a path kind of similar to Genty. Talented player, just wasn't sure if it was in the cards for the 49ers. And I don't know. Maybe with the situation with Deebo, they are open to going wide receiver at 11. But I still don't love it. I think because I don't necessarily love rookie wide receivers with Kyle Shanahan. I think that's just really where I'm at. Um, I think, and especially with talking to BA and, kind of getting a sense, I spoke to Tariq Owens for 15 minutes at the Super Bowl, just kind of getting his sense for like what it's like being a rookie in that scheme and just how complicated it is. And there's so many small details and nuances that you have to learn. And that's basically what Tariq Owens said. He said that, the speed of the game wasn't the hardest part or the biggest transition. He said the hardest transition was the playbook. That was the biggest hurdle to overcome. And so with any rookie that you draft, they are going through that. It doesn't matter what position they are. And I had mentioned this before when I was at the Senior Bowl, and Johnny Dell, of Johnny Dell's Football Academy, Johnny, um, he had showed me the route tree in Kyle's playbook, and it was insane. It's so detailed There's so much information in there. There's so many different nuances based on different looks and everything that comes along with it. So I think I'm just hesitant. I think I'm hesitant of Kyle Shanahan drafting wide receivers. I think I'm hesitant considering that the 49ers don't seem to like feature wide receivers either. It doesn't mean that wide receivers aren't productive in the scheme. I think we saw that BA was almost a 1,400-yard receiver, so they definitely can produce, but I wouldn't say they're featured. Like they aren't force fed. So I don't know. I'm indifferent. I think Burden is a talent. I see the vision that Justin has. I don't know if I would love that for the 49ers. Almost same thing with Genti, right? It's just like I'd almost rather go try to get value out of the wide receiver position and spend elsewhere just based on the track record that we've seen. I hope that makes sense. Um, it's not discounting Burden at all. It's just more so fit, right? Like if we were throwing the ball up and down the field all the time, and that was how our offense was built, just a high powered downfield tossing the rock type offense, then yeah, absolutely. I would be down for that. But I just feel like if it's up to Kyle, he's going to want to get back to running the football 30 times a game, utilizing play action, which means it's not really a feature. You need an X wide receiver, of course. Um, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I would be surprised to see Kyle go back to back first round wide receivers. But again, I was surprised when they drafted Ricky Pearsall in the first round last year as well. So I've been surprised many times by who the 49ers draft, and it will not be the last time that I will be surprised by who they draft. So, uh, it's very hard to evaluate players when it comes to health, especially our team is very physical, very aggressive injuries happen. Yeah, the injury element is just a hard part of that for sure. I heard possible Deebo to Jacksonville, then we pick up Hunter in the draft. I think I saw that mock draft. Was that PFF? I think PFF had us trading up um, from pick 11 to pick 5, throwing in Deebo, and then I think, but I think we took Mason Graham in uh, that particular mock that I'm referencing. If I'm if I am the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm not doing that trade unless there's much more thrown into the mix. But it'll be interesting to see who goes first. Is it going to be Abdul Carter? Is it going to be Travis Hunter? Will McMillan fall? Mason Graham? Will Johnson? It's crazy, like comparing and contrasting everyone's rankings because everyone has such different rankings. I think because this isn't a super top heavy draft with like slam dunk prospects at the top, like this is a great This is a great like workman's draft. Guys who are going to be in the league for like 10 years. Might not be the superstar, but will just be really, really, really good. Gray Zabel has absolutely flied up the rankings. Knight has flown up the rankings after the Senior Bowl. There's TJ Sanders. So TJ Sanders has a chance, at least based on the rankings, to be able to be there at 43 potentially. Dang, they got Shadur all the way at 42. Yeah, I don't. If Shadur dropped out of the top 10 like that, I don't think that would surprise me, to be honest with you. They have Jalen Walker at 52. The other big board that we attempted to look at, Dane Bulgers with the Athletic, has Jalen Walker at 3. Quite the disparity here. One has him as a top 3 prospect. The other one has him at 52. Interesting. Derek Hammond still feels like he's really low on PFF rankings. Jordan Birch is a guy that I like. Darius has moved up. Wyatt has dropped as he should. He looked not good at the Senior Bowl. So I'm kind of the mindset that based on these like media boards, I don't think these media boards are going to represent I don't think they're going to represent teams boards. I just really don't. I feel like there's a pretty big disparity right now with how they got some of these guys ranked. Feels like some guys should be way higher. They moved Jordan Phillips up. There's Galoti. So yeah, man, we'll see. There's still many iterations left. We still got to get through the combine, and then all of these media rankings will then go through another kind of shakeup, and then so take these rankings with a grain of salt with how it stands right now. What are the chances we get Miles Garrett? I would say there's a 50% chance, meaning that I do think the 49ers will go. I think they'll pick up the phone. I think they'll be interested. Um, but I think that goes for everyone in the league. I think everyone's going to be trying to get Miles Garrett. So, you know, it takes, Miles wanting to play here. It takes the Browns wanting to trade him here. So there's a lot of variables that go into being able to get a player like that. And I don't know. I would say there's a 50% chance, just leaving a large variable because you never know what's going to happen. Right. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But it's gonna be a short live today. I'm gonna say Max Crosby is more likely. I'm big on the Max Crosby hype train, so I'm gonna say Max Crosby is more likely than Miles Garrett. But we'll see. We'll see. Um, what would I offer for Garrett? I'm offering up pick 11 and Deebo. That's my starter. That's my starting spot. Hey, we got pick 11, we got Deebo. How does that sound? And then that's where the conversation begins. I think it would take a little bit more than that, but that's where I'm starting. And then we go back and forth throwing around ideas, seeing what would need to be sprinkled onto that to be able to facilitate that. But I'm starting with 11 and Deebo, and then we're going from there to see what will get that done. So um, I have seen Trey. I've seen Trey Amos. Yeah, he's a good looking prospect. He's a guy that's stood out to me for sure. Ole Miss, yeah, rangy kind of cornerback. Um, Kennard out of South Carolina. Yeah, both Kennard and TJ really stood out to me at the Senior Bowl. I really liked them, and I really liked watching them play together. They would line up quite a bit uh, next to each other at the Senior Bowl, and I liked watching them together. Kennard surprised me. Um, he moved up the rankings in my personal rankings, along with TJ as well. So both the South Carolina kids made money for me on that defensive line. I thought they were solid. I really do. I thought they were really good. I wouldn't be surprised if both of them were second rounders. Wouldn't be surprised if TJ sneaks into the first. So we'll see. We'll see what we get. Um, I can be the Niners' new kicker. There you go. Oh, Justin, you got a question in the chat. I have not. I have not seen this player, but I got to look at it. Would I take Will Johnson at 11 if he falls? I haven't done a deep dive on him, but I wouldn't be out on a cornerback at 11. I was actually talking to Detail put me on to the Notre Dame kid who got hurt this season, and I really liked watching him on film. And that kind of opened me up to the idea of taking a cornerback at 11. Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame, really, really solid cornerback. Great athlete, phenomenal ball skills, phenomenal ability to ride in that hip pocket. He's just dealing with injury. But I haven't done a deep dive on Will Johnson yet. But I've heard good things about him. So I'm open to the idea. I'm open to the process. I'm open to the idea of cornerback, but I also like some of the later cornerbacks. So that kind of plays into that thought process as well. Is I do think you can find some quality cornerbacks maybe at 43 if you wanted to do that. So I think it gives the 49ers options at least to if they really come across one of these cornerbacks and checks all the boxes, I wouldn't be upset at it. I wouldn't be upset at it at all. because the 49ers are going to need a starting cornerback. They're going to need a starting safety. They need two starting defensive tackles. They need a defensive end of the future. They need a starting linebacker. So, like, honestly, pick your poison with defense. They need an impact. They need someone who's going to be an impact on at every position on the defense. So that's kind of the thing that we've talked about is like, yeah, they have a good core group of guys, but they need to hit and they need to fill these gaps. And there's a considerable amount of gaps right now. But if they plug those holes, maybe go Justin Simmons at safety. You draft maybe a cornerback in the second round. You go defensive tackle in the first. All that stuff. Victoria says, when are we doing a live mock? I think Chili about that earlier too. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe we'll do a live mock draft tomorrow. I'm currently cooking up mock draft 2.0. And it's going to be a spicy one. Mock draft, absolutely going to be spicy. Mock draft 2.0. So I'm excited to drop that on you. We definitely have to do a deep dive on free agents. Got a lot of stuff to do around here. Always working, always stuff to do when covering this team. If McMillan falls to 11, see, I love McMillan. So I might absolutely take McMillan at 11 if he is there. I definitely am higher on McMillan more than Burden right now. But we'll see. Nick Nash, SJSU, he's going to be a sleeper for someone. Someone's going to get a good one there. But I'm going to get out of here. Like I said, short one today. But we'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate all you guys. Did we even get close to our like goal? Like I said, I sent it at 150 because I thought I kind of felt that it was going to be a lighter stream today. But did we even get close to it? No. What time tomorrow? Hopefully a little bit sooner in the day, not so late. Maybe more around mid-afternoon. And all that. More votes than likes. That's hilarious. It's all good. Like I said, I could feel it. I could feel it going into this one. So I'm not tripping. I appreciate everyone for tapping in. We'll be back tomorrow and all that good stuff. Appreciate everyone. I'm out for now. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.